maturity. It just takes action. And what did he do? Because the Brahmana has special power. The son of the Rishi touched the water of river Kaushik while speaking to his playmates, and he just discharged the falling words. Some power of speech, but if it is not, that is misused, it becomes a curse. Brahmanas have got the power of speech. A chaste woman has the power of speech. It has to be utilized in a proper way. If it comes in the form of anger, it will burn anyone. Now see, he has got such a power of speech, but he misused it. 37th verse, 18th chapter, first canto. इति लङ्घितमर्यादं रक्षकः मेहने रक्ष्यामि स्म कुलाङ्गारं चोदितो ते तदद्रुहम् इति thus लङ्घितः surpassing मर्यादं etiquette takshakah snake bird saptami on the seventh ahani day dakshyani will bite sma certainly Ula Angaram, the wretched of the dynasty, Choditaha, having done, may my Tata Druham, enmity towards the father. So such a person, he is cursing now Raj Parikshit. He says he's Kula. That means he's a wretched one. He's Parikshit, one who is searching Lord. After coming out from the womb of mother, such a great devotee who has been protected. And just see, there is a Brahmana who is speaking such ill about Parikshit Maharaj. And then on top of that, he has cursed. And what is that curse? That he will be bitten by a snake, Takshaka. As I was opening the Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary also. So because he placed that snake on the body of my father, Takshaka, the living snake will bite him. Another version has Takshati. He will burn him to ashes. Inspired by me, Joditaha, the snake will bite. Joditahame, the snake will bite. Tatadruham means the same as Tatadruham, offender of my father. Okay. So Anisha Prabhu, please read the verse and read the.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, दंडवत प्रणाम। इति लंघित मर्यादम तक्षका सप्तमे अहनि दंक्ष्यति संकुलांगारम चोदितो मे तद्रुहम। Purport and translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. The Brahmana's son cursed the king thus: on the seventh day from today, a snake bird will bite the most wretched one of that dynasty, Maharaja Parikshit, because of his having broken the laws of etiquette by insulting my father. Purport. Thus, the beginning of the misuse of Brahmanical power began, and gradually the Brahmanas in the age of Kali became devoid of both Brahmanical and power and culture. The Brahmana boy considered Maharaja Parikshit to be Kulangra, or the wretched of the dynasty, but factually the Brahmana boy himself was so, because only from him did the Brahmana caste become powerless, like the snake whose poisoned teeth are broken. The snake is fearful as long as his poisoned teeth are there. Otherwise, he is fearful only to children. The personality of Kali conquered the Brahmana boy first and gradually the other castes. Thus, the whole scientific system of the orders of society in this age has assumed the form of a vitiated caste system, which is now being uprooted by another class of men, similarly influenced by the age of Kali. One should see to the root cause of vitiation and not try to condemn the system as it is without knowledge of its scientific value. Hare Krishna.
38th verse. ततोऽभ्येत्याश्रमं बालो गले सर्पकलेवरं पितरं वीक्ष्य दुःखार्तो मुक्तकण्ठो रुरोदः. Tata thereafter, Abheta, after entering into ashram, the hermitage, Bala, boy, Gale Sarpa, the snake on the shoulder, Kalevaram, body, Pitaram, unto the father. Diksha having seen Dukkhata in a sorry plight, Muktakantha loudly, Ruroda, cried in the past. So when the boy entered the hermitage, he saw a snake on the father's shoulder. And out of his grief, he cried very loud. As his father is completely in trance. He is not even aware there is a dead snake put on my chest. That is, a dead snake has been garlanded. He is unaware. When his son sees, he cries. Okay, Priya, read. Krishna Priya.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Mataji. ततोऽभ्योच्याश्रमं बालो गले सर्पकलेवरं पितरं वीक्ष्य दुःखार्तो मुक्तकण्ठोरुरोदः. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Therefore, after when the boy returned to the hermitage, he saw a snake on his father's shoulder, and out of his grief, he cried very loudly. Purport. The boy was not happy because he committed a great mistake, and he wanted to be relieved of the burden on his heart by crying. So, after entering the hermitage and seeing his father in that condition, he cried loudly so that he might be relieved. But it was too late. The father regretted the whole incident. Hare Krishna.
सवा अङ्गिरसो ब्रह्मन् श्रुत्वा सुतविलापनम् उन्मील्य शनकैर्नेत्रे दृष्ट्वा चांसे मृतोरगम्. Sah he, while also Angirasha, the rishi born in the family of Angira, Brahman, oh, oh Shaunaka, Shuta, who on hearing Suta, his son, Vilapanam, crying in distress, Unmilya, opening, Shanakahi, gradually, Netre, by the eyes, Krishtva, by seeing, Cha also, Amshe, on the shoulder, Mruta, dead, Uragam, sleep. O Brahmanas, the rishi who was born, Nasuka Goswami is telling to Shaunakadi rishi, who was born in the family of Angira Muni, this rishi, hearing his son crying, gradually opened his eyes. Actually, when you are in complete trance, durum karke you cannot open the eyes. It takes long time to come out of that state to come to the present state. So that is why it is written here, Shanakahi, Netrahi. He gradually opened the eyes and saw the dead snake around his neck. That time only he is seeing when his son is crying loudly. That is the time slowly he comes up. That means even while garlanding also, the snake has touched the body, not dead snake. But still he is so much in trance, he is not aware of it. And even loudly this boy cries. That is the time he slowly comes out of trance. Let's continue, Priya.
सवा आङ्गीरसो ब्रह्मन् श्रुत्वा सुतविलापनम् उन्मील्यासनकैर्नेत्रे दृष्ट्या चांसे मृतोरगम्. Translation. O Brahmanas, the rishi who was born in the family of Angira Muni, hearing his son crying, gradually opened his eyes and saw the dead snake around his neck.
Next. विसृज्य तं च पप्रच्छ वत्स कस्मात् धिरोदिषि केन वा ते प्रकृतम् के वा ते अपकृतम् इत्युक्तः स न्यवेदयत्. Visruja, throwing aside, Tamdam also Papracha asked, Vatsa, my dear son, Kasmat, for what for? He certainly, Lodishi, crying, Kena, by whom, Va, otherwise, Tede, Apakrutam, misbehaved, iti thus, Uttah, being asked, Saha, the boy, Nya Vedayat, informed of everything. He threw the dead snake aside and asked his son why he was crying. Now this Brahma Bhuta Prasanna. He is in trance, he is in samadhi, he is unaware. This is only Brahma Bhuta Prasanna Atma is actually for these meditators. They are unaffected by the situations around. Na shochati na kakshati. Then he was crying. Why he was crying? He was asking whether anyone harmed him. On hearing this, the son explained to him what happened. Everything, right from the what he heard, how he cursed, everything. Okay. Jumurji,
Mataji, I am going to read on her behalf.
read.
Yes, Mataji. Visrujam, Visrujam tam cha prapacha, Visrujam tam cha prapacha, Vatsa kasmadhirodhishi, Kena vate pakrutam, Iti ukta sanya vedayat. Translation published by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. He threw the dead snake aside and asked his son why he was crying, whether anyone had done him harm. On hearing this, the son explained to him what had happened. Purport. The father did not take the dead snake on his neck very seriously. He simply threw it away. Actually, there was nothing seriously wrong in Maharaj Parikshit's act, but the foolish son took it very seriously, and being influenced by Kali, he cursed the king and thus ended a chapter of happy history. Hare Krishna.
41st. Nishamya saptam atadharham narendram sabrahmano natmajam apyanandat aho patam ho mahadatyate krut mahadatyate krutam alpiyasi droha pudurdamodhuta nishamya saptam atat arham adarendram sabrahmano natmajam abhyanandat aho patam ho mahadatya te krutam alpiyasi droha pururdamodhuta nishamya after hearing Shaptam, cursed, Atat Arham, never to be condemned, Nar Indram, unto the king, best of humankind, Saha, that Brahmana Rishi, Na not, Atmajam, his own son, Abhyanandat, congratulated, how alas, what a distressing, Amhaha, since Mahat, great, Adyaha, today, they yourself, Pratam, perform, Alpiyasi, insignificant, Droha, offense, Muruha, very great, Damaha, punishment. So now the father heard, after hearing what he heard, his curse. He Atan Arham, never to be condemned. He should have never condemned the king. Nara Indram. Nara Indram means he's the best of the humankind. And this boy has cursed the king who is never to be condemned. And this Brahmana Rishi was so upset with his own son, Abhyananda. He did not congratulate him. No, Abhyananda did not congratulate. Very good, you caused the king. No, he did not congratulate. On the contrary, what happened? He began to repent. Was so distressed. Alpiyasi, what an insignificant offense you have done. For an insignificant offense, what a heavy punishment you have given. Damaha Kritaha. What did he do? He just put a dead snake, and you have given such a big punishment that he's going to be killed in 7 days. What a great sinful act was performed by my son. He's crying. He has awarded heavy punishment for insignificant offense. So he did not congratulate his son. In fact, on the contrary, he was repenting. Neeraj Prabhu, please.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Nishamya Shaptam Tadarham Narendram Sabrahmano Natmajam Yanandant Abhyandanta Aho Batamo Mahadate Kratya Malapiya Sidro Urudar Mudratya Ururda Modadrata. Hare Krishna. Translations by His Divine Grace A.C. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The father heard from his son that the king had been cursed, although he should never have been condemned, for he was the best among all human beings. The rishi did not congratulate his son, but on the contrary, began to repent, saying, "Alas, what a great sinful act was performed by my son. He was awarded heavy punishment for an insignificant offense." Purport. The king is the best of all human beings. He is the representative of God, and he is never to be condemned for any of his actions. In other words, the king can do no wrong. The king may order hanging of a culprit son of a Brahmana, but he does not become sinful for killing a Brahmana. Even if there is something wrong with the king, he is never to be condemned. A medical practitioner may kill a patient by mistaken treatment, but such a killer is never condemned to death. So what to speak of a good and pious king like Maharaj Parikshit? In the Vedic way of life, the king is trained to become a Raj Rishi or a great saint, although he is ruling as king. It is the king only by whose good government the citizens can live peacefully and without any fear. The Raj Rishis would manage their kingdom so nicely and piously that their subjects would respect them as if they were the lords. As if they were the Lord. That is the instruction of the Vedas. The king is called Narendra, or the best among the human beings. How then could a king like Maharaj Parikshit be condemned by an inexperienced, puffed up son of a Brahmana, even though he had attained the powers of a qualified Brahmana? Since Shamik Rishi was an experienced good Brahmana, he did not approve of the actions of his condemned son. He began to lament for all that his son had done. The king was beyond the jurisdiction of curses as a general rule, and what to speak of a good king like Maharaj Parikshit? The offense of the king was most insignificant, and his being condemned to death was certainly a very great sin from Shringi. Therefore, Rishi Shamika regretted the whole incident. Hare Krishna. Hari Bol.
What is it? न वै निर्भीर्नरदेवं पराख्यं सम्मातुमर्हस्य विपक्वबुद्धे यत्तेजसा दुर्विषहेण गुप्ता विन्दति भद्राण्यकुतो भया प्रजाः. Oh my boy. No, never. By, as a matter of fact, will be by any man, Naradevam, unto a man god, Parakhyam, who is transcendental, Sammatum, placed on equal footing, Arhasi by the promise, Avipakva, unripe or immature, Buddhe, intelligence, yet of whom Tejasa by the promise, Durvisha Yenaha, unsurpassable, Guptaha protected, Vindati, enjoys, Vadrani, all prosperity, Aptaha Bhaya, completely defended, Prajaha, subjects. Oh my boy, your intelligence is immature, and therefore you have no knowledge. The king is the best among the human beings. He is Naradeva. He is as good as personality of Godhead. He is never to be placed on equal footing with common man. The citizens of the state live in prosperity, being protected by his insurpassable prowess. So what did he do? You're such an immature boy. Your intelligence is so immature that you have no knowledge. You are putting the king on a common platform, thinking him to be an ordinary person. You are cursing him. So whose loss it is? A person loses a wonderful king. It's whose loss? It is a citizen's loss. So that is why he's saying, you are such an immature boy. Because to get such a king is not so easy. Like we have got wonderful uh, king in our country, this is Modi ji. So naturally we should feel that he should be always protected, isn't it? That is why Sanatan Dharma is established. There is Yogi ji who was established, who made world record by such a wonderful arrangement in Prayagraj. So we should appreciate, instead of appreciating, if we curse, what happens? Who is at loss? All the people who are at loss. Okay, Neeraj, go continue.
नावेर्नभिर्नरदेवं पराख्यं सम्मातुमर्हस्य विपक्वबुद्धे यत्तेजसा दुर्विषहेण गुप्ता विन्दन्ति भद्राण कुतभूया प्रजाः. Translations by His Divine Grace A.C. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Oh my boy, your intelligence is immature, and therefore you have no knowledge that the king, who is the best among the human beings, best amongst human beings, is as good as the personality of Godhead. He is never to be placed on an equal footing with common men. The citizens of the state live in prosperity, being protected by his unsurpassable prowess. Hare Krishna, Madhuri.
अलक्ष्यमाणे नरदेव नाम्नि तथा अङ्गपाणावयमङ्गलोका तदा हि चौर प्रचुरो विनक्ष्यरक्ष्यमाणो विभरोतवत्क्षण. Alakshmane being abolished, Naradeva, monarchical, Namni of the name, Rathangapana, the representative of the Lord. I am this, Angama, oh my born, Loka, this world, Tadahi at once, Chauraha thieves, Prachuraha too much, Vinakshati vanquishes, Arakshamanaha being not protected, Avivarutha like lambs, Shana. My dear boy, the Lord, who carries the wheel of a chariot, is represented by the monarchical regime. And when this regime is abolished, the whole world becomes filled with thieves, who then at once vanquish the unprotected subjects like scattered lambs. It's a king who is protecting all of us, and this king is killed. What will happen? The king dies. All the subjects will be plundered by the thieves. They'll be left scattered like the lambs, because they are unprotected. Now just see, we are protected. That is why no country attracts us. The moment we are unprotected, gone. The same thing applies. We are protected by a spiritual master. So in every circumstances, we can challenge the challenging situations. We can go ahead even in the challenging situations. Even in every challenging situations, we can remain peaceful. The moment we are unprotected by our elders, by our spiritual master, we will be left scattered like lambs. Why the word lamb is used? Because the lamb is always in fear. You see, it just do the lamb will run. Because lamb's tendency is to be in fear. The one who is unprotected is always in fear. Fear of bad name, fear of this, fear of that. But who is protected is fearless. Arjuna was fearless even in such a situation. Arjuna used to sleep very peacefully at night. Krishna told, how is it that you are sleeping nicely? You are there, Naksh. So even in the 15 days of war, Arjuna was very peaceful. That is how, even in the challenging situation of this Maya, only a person who is protected by his Shiksha Guru, Diksha Guru, He can remain peaceful in every circumstances. And this is the key success to become Sthita Pragya. Isn't a Sthita Pragya Saka Bhasha Samadhistasya Keshava Titandi Kim Prabhasheta Kimasita Brajeta Kim. When this situation happens, when you are peaceful in all the circumstances, when you can remain steady in your Krishna consciousness, be unbewildered by any circumstances, walking on the same path, let there be any challenges, let the people beat on your back. That is the stage where your nishtha is seen, how much you are surrendered to Srila Prabhupada and his missionary activity. Sometimes praises, sometimes criticism, sometimes people will scorn you. Still, you can remain peaceful if one is protected. If one is unprotected, then he will be scattered like a lamb and he will be always in fear. The biggest fear is what people will tell me. Doesn't matter. For a person who is surrendered to God and his representative, doesn't matter whether good name or bad name. Just do the work, just do the duties which has been assigned by a spiritual master. Okay. So now who is going to protect us? The king only is killed. Who is going to protect the subjects? That's what's the biggest concern to his father. Son's name is Shringi, right? Shamika Rishi. Father's name is Shamika. Son's name is Shringi. So Shamika Rishi is completely now in anxiety. Who is going to protect us? Who will read? Who has joined? Kusum read.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
I think this is the last
Alak-
read. We'll finish up.
अलक्ष्यमाने नरदेवनाम्नि रथाङ्गपाना वयम् अङ्गलोकः तदा हि चौरा प्रचूरो विनक्ष्यति अरक्ष्यमाणो विवरुत्तवत्क्षणात्. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. My dear boy, the Lord who carries the wheel of a chariot is represented by the monarchical regime, and when this regime is abolished, the whole world becomes filled with thieves who then at once vanquish the unprotected subjects like scattered lambs. Purport. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, the monarchical regime represents the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead. The king is said to be the representative of the absolute personality of Godhead because he is trained to acquire the qualities of God to protect the living beings. The battle of Kurukshetra was planned by the Lord to establish the real representative of the Lord, Maharaj Yudhishthir. An ideal king, thoroughly trained by culture and devotional service with the martial spirit, makes a perfect king. Such a personal monarchy is far better than the so-called democracy of no training and responsibility. The thieves and rogues of modern democracy seeks election by misrepresentation of votes, and the successful rogues and thieves devour the mass of population. One trained monarch is far better than hundreds of useless ministerial rogues, and it is hinted herein that by abolition of a monarchical regime like that of Maharaj Parikshit, the mass of people become open to many attacks of the age of Kali. They are never happy in an overly advertised form of democracy. The result of such a kingless administration is described in the following verses. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Next. तदस्यनः पापम् उपैत्यन्वयम् यन्नश्चनाथस्य वशोर्विलम्बक परस्परं घ्नन्ति वृजन्ते वृञ्जते Pashun Striyo Vrithan Parudasvayo Jana. That for this reason, Adya, from this day, upon us, Papam, the action of sin, Upaiti will overtake, Ananvayam, disruption, yet because Nashta abolished Nathasya of the monarch, Vaso of wealth, Vilum Patkar, being plundered, Parasparam, between one another, Granti will kill, Shapanti will do harm, Brillante will steal, Pashun, animals, Priya, Arthan, which is Guru greatness, as thieves, Janaha. Due to the termination of the monarchical regimes and the plundering of the people's wealth by rogues and thieves, there will be great social disruption. People will be killed, injured, animals and women will be stolen, and for all this we will be responsible. So all these things are going to happen because if the leader who is so wonderful, if he is killed, everybody will be unprotected, people will be killed, people will be injured, animals, women, everybody will be stolen. No protection. Okay, continue.
I'll read Mataji.
Yes, continue.
तदद्य तदद्य न उपैत्यनन्वयं यन्नश्तनाथस्य वसो विलुम्पकात् परस्परं घ्नन्ति शपन्ति वृञ्जते पशून् स्त्रियो रथान् पुरुदश्यवो जनाः. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Due to the termination of the monarchical regimes and the plundering of the people's wealth by rogues and thieves, there will be great social disruptions. People will be killed and injured, and animals and women will be stolen. And for all these sins, we shall be responsible. Purport. The word Naha, we, is very significant in this verse. The sage rightly takes the responsibility of the Brahmanas as a community for killing monarchical government and thus giving an opportunity to the so-called democrats who are generally plunderers of the wealth of the state subjects. The so-called democrats capture the administrative machine without assuming responsibility for the prosperous condition of the citizens. Everyone captures the post for personal gratification, and thus, instead of one king, a number of irresponsible kings grow up to tax the citizens. It is foretold herein that in the absence of good monarchical government, everyone will be the cause of disturbance for others by plundering riches, animals, women, etc. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
तदार्यधर्मः प्रविलीयते नृणाम् वर्णाश्रमाचारयुतस्त्रियैमयः ततोऽर्थकामाभिनिवेशितात्मनाम् शुनाम् कपीनाम् इव वर्णसङ्कर. So what will happen? Varna Sankara will be born. Same thing is given in Bhagavad Gita when Arjuna says, please, we should not fight. If we fight, what will happen? Sins will be incurred. Now see, his father is telling the same thing. The sins will be incurred. The woman will be disturbed. The woman will be unprotected. Varna Ashrama will prevail. Varna Sankara will prevail. Varna Sankara means unwanted children. Tada, at that time, Aryaha progressive civilization, Dharma engagement, Praviliyate is systematically vanquished, humankind, Varnaha caste, Ashrama orders of society, Acharayutaha composed in a good manner, Traimaha in terms of injunction, Tataha thereafter, Artha economic development, Kama Abhimanishetaha fully absorbed in sense gratification, Atmanam men, Shunam the dogs, Kapinam like monkeys, Eva thus, Varnasankara unwanted. So at that time, what will happen? The people in general will fall systematically from the path of a progressive civilization in respect to the qualitative engagement of caste and orders of society and Vedic injunction. So the Vedic tradition will slowly go away. Thus, there will be more attractive economic development for sense gratification. If knowledge is not there, what will happen? If the leader is not there, People will only go take bath in Prayagraj and come back and think that I have done something great. You know what is the thing? Saeva Gokhara, become a donkey. It is relating to these verses, isn't it? If the knowledge is not there, leader is not there, knowledge is not there, then there will be only a donkey's work which will go on. And there will be more interesting economic development. Generally, people now, so many crore of people went. Why? They want the sins to go away, economic development, dharma, kama. Some people say we want moksha. All this is nothing but sense gratification. And as a result, there will be unwanted population on the levels of dogs and monkeys. What a dog does, bark at each other, fight. What monkey does, snatches the property of others and flies up. So this will happen. The people will be always interested in plundering others. People will be interested in even quarreling with everyone. This will happen if there is no proper leadership. And if the leader is killed, then this is going to happen. So read Neeraj Prabhu continue.
Hare Krishna. Tadanya papum pet. Sorry. Tadana papamu petya nanavyam. Sorry, I'm not getting the beat. One sec.
Prabhuji, it's a 45th
45.
verse.
Sorry.
Yes, yes.
Tada yadharma
Tada yadharma praviliyate naranam varnashramacharayut striyam yimaya tatorth kama bhiniveshitatmanam shuna kapinam eva varna sankara. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. At that time, the people in general will fall systematically from the path of a progressive civilization in respect to the qualitative engagements of the castes and the orders of the society and the Vedic injunctions. Thus, they will be more attracted to economic development for sense gratification, and as a result, there will be an unwanted population on the levels of dogs and monkeys. Purport. It is foretold herein that in the absence of a monarchical regime, the general mass of people will be an unwanted population like dogs and monkeys. As the monkeys are too sexually inclined and dogs are shameless in sexual intercourse, the general mass of population born of illegitimate connection will systematically go astray from the Vedic way of good manners and qualitative engagements in the caste and orders of life. The Vedic way of life is the progressive march of the civilization of the Aryans. The Aryans are progressive in Vedic civilization. The Vedic civilization's destination is to go back to Godhead, back home, where there is no birth, no death, no old age, and no disease. The Vedas direct everyone not to remain in the darkness of the material world, but to go towards the light of the spiritual kingdom far beyond the material sky. The qualitative caste system and the orders of life are scientifically planned by the Lord and his representatives, the great rishis. The perfect way of life gives all sorts of instructions in things, both material and spiritual. The Vedic way of life does not allow any man to be like the monkeys and dogs. A degraded civilization of sense gratification and economic development is the byproduct of a godless or kingless government of the people, by the people, and for the people. The people should not therefore begrudge the poor administration they themselves elect. Hare Krishna.
Stop here. The consequences have been spoken by his father, who is very, very learned, very, very tolerant, and a very wonderful personality. Shamik Rishi is speaking this to his son. Continue this next class. 3 questions you can ask. There's 50 verses. More 5 verses are there, which will. Any questions? Question?
Mataji, can I ask a simple clarification? It's not a question actually, but when it is so clearly mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, what is stopping or holding us? I'm sorry, my voice is being, am I audible?
I'm able to hear. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is holding us, or what is holding the Vedantis, so-called people who are learned, to influence the government, at least beginning from India?
Influence in what?
Haribol? I'm
Influence
sorry.
in what? What influence we want them to do? What is that expectation from their side?
Mataji, what I mean to say simply is, like when Srimad Bhagavatam clearly demarcates this should be done, this should not be done. A monarchical society should be there. Varna Sankras should be avoided. So if there is so much of clarity right in the Vedas, then why are leaders, or like what is missing that it is not getting implemented in the government today or in the past, so-called past?
You're speaking Vedas or you're speaking Bhagavatam? That's what I'm-
I'm speaking, Mataji, from Srimad Bhagavatam. What I'm saying is that when we have such rich scriptures, when we have such rich Bhagavatam ji, which is saying everything so clearly, why is that only left in the knowledge domain, not in the actual reality when it comes to governance, when it comes to Constitution of India? Why, like, why is the disconnect?
Okay. When you tell Srimad Bhagavatam, that is the ripened fruit of the Vedas, which is not found in Vedas. Must understand. Nigama kalpataror galitam palam shukamukad amrita drava samyutam. It is not there in the Vedas, but the Vedas is compared to the Nigama kalpataru, but it is a ripened fruit which is not now there in the Vedas, which is now in the mouth of Shukadev Goswami. And from Shukadev Goswami, it is coming in the discipline succession. Now so-called Vedantis, they are allured. Very clearly, it has been given in Bhagavad Gita. What does Veda speak? Veda speak flowery languages. And that is why people are practically in illusion. When you say Vedantis, if they don't know the sum and bonum of Veda, then they are actually just Veda Vadartaha Partha. Krishna says they are just Veda Vadartaha. They really don't know what is the meaning of Vedas. Those who are Vedantis can never guide others. But they themselves are in illusion. That is how what happens, even if they want to speak, they will speak in their own modes. Mode of goodness or mode of passion, mode of weakness. Bhagavatam is spoken by only devotees, not Vedantis. Understand it very nicely. When we are speaking this, you should know nicely. Second chapter, Bhagavad Gita, 42-43 verses. Yam imam pushpitam vacham pravadantya vipashchitaha vedavadartaha partha nanadasti iti vadina. They can never understand the purpose of the Vedas. Why? They are driven by kamatmanah swargapara janma karma falapradam viya vishesha bahulam bhogaishwarya gatim. They are always interested in bhoga. And these bhogas can come out in different forms. Now, Varna Sankaraha is also one of the ways of enjoyment and producing children. Now, Bhagavatam speaks about such illicit activities. Bhagavatam speaks about a king giving protection to so many queens. Now, if a person is not a devotee or is not taking shelter of Bhagavatam, he can never be called as a devotee. If he is not taking shelter of Bhagavatam, then how he can guide others? We have seen that how so-called Mahatma Gandhi, he never took shelter of Bhagavatam. That is why he is known as Duratma. So such people, even if they say Hey Ram, or even they say call themselves as readers of Bhagavad Gita, they cannot guide the society because they have never appreciated the prayers of Bhagavatam and they have never appreciated the words of Krishna. The prayers of devotees to Lord, that is Bhagavatam. The Leelas of Krishna, that is Bhagavatam. And the words of Krishna is Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita cannot be understood without Bhagavatam. And when you say Bhagavatam, Bhagavatam means taking shelter of Srimati Radharani, who is the only devotee of Krishna. We are all taking just shelter of Srimati Radharani. When you take shelter of Bhagavatam, that is taking on shelter of Srimati Radharani. Daivi Haisha Gulamayi Mama Maya Duratya Mame Vaya Prapadante Maya Itam Taranti De. Only when a person takes shelter of Daivi Shakti, and Daivi Shakti comes from Srimati Radharani only. She is the only Radharani Shakti of Krishna. The Vedanta is where they stand. They don't stand near Bhagavad. Because Kamatmana, they are so much driven by their Bhogaishwarya Gatim Prati. So we should be first clear with our question. The question is, why a devotee is not able to influence the government? You can ask like that. Why a devotee is not able to influence the government? His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj influenced Modi ji, Yogi ji. That is why today Sanatan Dharma is established. That is why today so much of crowd for 144 Mahakumbh. It's not that the devotee cannot influence. Srila Prabhupada wanted to influence Gandhi, Mrs. Gandhi, Indira Gandhi. Sometimes it is Krishna's will. It can happen, it cannot happen. Devotees never stress upon their efforts. They do it, they leave it in God's will. Sometimes clicks, sometimes doesn't click, doesn't matter.
Great, Mataji. Thank you so much. I get that. Right now, I'm getting it absolutely. That it is in the domain of action that the devotee continues to do whatever is required to be done, but not getting attached to the results, whether the government or the person who's in charge is listening or not listening. So, thank you. Hari Bol.
Have to do a duty. Karmanyavadhikarasthi.
That's enough.
So a Nainu has broken the tree. A tree has fallen 6 years.
Hare Krishna.
The tree is falling. Tell one verse. Fatafat. You tell Haigree Stotra.
ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलास्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवोपास्महे.
Very good. Actually, this verse should be told by every devotee because it's Hayagriva who gives the knowledge. Jnananandam mayam devam nirmalam sphatikakritim adharam sarvavidyanam Hayagrivam upasmahe.
One for Mahaprabhu.
For Mahaprabhu chant.
चैतन्य कृष्णा चैतन्यो गौरांगो द्विजनायकः यतीनां दण्डिनां चैव न्यासिनां च शिरोमणिः रक्ताम्बरधर श्रीमान् नवद्वीपसुधाकरः प्रेम भक्ति प्रदश्चैव श्रीशचीनन्दनस्तथा.
Jai Ho. Go 12 names of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nityananda Prabhu's 12 names.
नित्यानंदो वधुर्तेन्दुर्वसुधा प्राणवल्लभः जानकी जीवितापतिः कृष्ण प्रेम प्रद प्रभुः पद्मावती सुत श्रीमान सचिनंदन पूर्वजः भावोन्मत्तो जगत्रात्रा रक्त गौर कलेवरः.
Oh, wonderful. Now I request Jumur to put both 12 names of Chaitanya Charitamrita of Nityananda Prabhu in the group so that every one of us should chant. Gaur Purnima is nearing.
Okay.
Mataji, can I make a suggestion to Jumur and Narayan Prabhu?
Yes,
This
Prabhuji.
is so wonderful. You know what is really happening in front of my eyes. So maybe you can actually start recording YouTube videos of her and start posting it on her channel, because you have no idea, you know, how rare is this gift of Krishna consciousness you are actually taking care of.
No, she should come. That is why she is not doing. Because she gets very fast and she becomes sick then. That is why we are not starting her channel.
Okay, I got that. No,
But
but
the
start
Drishti is so much
recording this and separately start keeping it. I don't know, my
and
videos.
we can post devotees group. But what happens when you start channel and all? Drishti happens to the children. We
Yeah,
should
that's true.
protect the daily life.
We are saving it, Prabhuji. Once she grows up, no, I think we will start posting that.
Yes, Mataji, keep recording it for sure, because this is something which is very rare gift of the Lord Himself, you know, that you have
Yes.
got to take care of. Hari Bol.
Hari bol, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Dhanavad, Radhe Radhe. Vancha
Vaishnavi
kalpa
Devi
sindhu
those the 12 days and ask her to chant and post them.
Okay.